Howdy do, all you wonderful sinners of the world, and welcome back to the Fanworks. Today we're rolling on down to the Wrath Ring to gather information on the cutest imp that doesn't cross-dress. Yet. You know it, folks, today we're looking at the one and only MILLIE. MILLIE's always been a favorite here at the Fanworks, and we're here today to make sure you all leave here a little more educated about our favorite violent vixen. So, without any further ado, make sure to stab that subscribe button and round up the bell to let you know when we post every single day, and let's delve into 50 MILLIE facts you may or may not know. Number 1. MILLIE is currently voiced by Vivian Nixon, known for her appearances in Glee and Grey's Anatomy, as well as many others. MILLIE is classified as an imp, meaning she was, of course, born in hell, and is at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of power. Right, and I'm sure the guys at Dork thought the same thing. MILLIE was born in the Wrath Ring, as it's her parents' house she visits for the Harvest Moon Festival, though she seems to have come away as a far more traditional Wrath Ring imp than her husband. In episode 6, MILLIE claims to be 5 years older than Loona, placing her and Moxie at least in their mid to late 20s, as we only know that Loona is over 18. MILLIE is stated to be bisexual, much like her husband. MILLIE's family is rather extensive. It consists of her mother and father, her sister Sally Mae, and no less than 4 brothers who have so far gone unnamed. How they even had room for all of them in that house is beyond me. MILLIE's pilot design originally had a white tuft of hair on her head amidst all the black, but either she dyed it or it changed colors because it was later removed for the main series. She is considered the melee expert of the team, as she seems to be proficient in just about every melee weapon you can think of, from knives to spears to axes, which seem to be her favorite weapon. That being said, while Moxie is definitely better versed in them, MILLIE also seems to be at least skilled with a firearm, able to nail a headshot on that gremlin thing while it was on top of Stolas in episode 2. For something a little more hidden in plain sight, MILLIE has a black tattoo of a heart on her arm. Now, we know MILLIE is a happy imp, which heart tattoos are known to represent, but black heart tattoos can also symbolize death and grief, and considering how high her body count is, that idea certainly isn't out of the question. MILLIE seems to be a fan of commercial jingles, particularly the IMP jingle, which, I mean, come on. Everybody liked that jingle. Seen throughout the show, MILLIE is a rather caring wife, always making sure her husband's mental health isn't in jeopardy, like when he seems traumatized by shooting the wrong target, her concern at his potential panic attack, and her reassurances at his hesitance to shoot a family. Apparently, MILLIE can turn every inch of herself into a weapon. I mean, for God's sake, she broke a dork agent's neck with just her legs! How do you even do that? MILLIE doesn't seem to mind Blitz's intrusions into her life, which makes her far more forgiving than I am, because I would have killed him by now. In a blink and you'll miss it moment in episode 5, MILLIE apparently has 5 separate knives she keeps in arm's reach when she's in bed, although the 2 on the headboard make me feel like those aren't used for quite their intended purpose. MILLIE doesn't seem to get angry easily, except when Moxie's in the crossfire. I mean, she downright clubbed the business partner and potential lover of Osmodeus himself, somebody who could have deleted them both with a sneeze just because they were making fun of Moxie. Unlike her husband, MILLIE seems to have no qualms about blowing away anybody if they're paid to do it. Stated in episode 5, MILLIE isn't allowed to participate in the Harvest Moon Festival anymore because she killed people. We all saw that episode, right? How did she manage to kill 9 people with things like mud wrestling and tug of war? MILLIE seems to be a fan of breaking things as well, especially when there's an easy alternative route next to it. For example, in episode 1, she smashed clean through the family dock instead of, I don't know, climbing over one of the sides. Or in episode 6 when she smashes clean through the ceiling when there was a ventilation shaft literally right next to her. That stuff ain't cheap, Mills! Speaking of Mills, Millie goes through perhaps the most nicknames out of any character in the show, ranging from Mills, M, Pumpkin Spice, hell, Millie is even a nickname. Her real name is Mildred. As an imp, Millie is fireproof, which, given her myriad of other skills, just kind of feels like cheating at this point. Millie is a huge fan of Lululand, which her parents took her family to when they had the money for it. Well, maybe going to an amusement park in the Ring of Greed isn't the best idea if you don't have that kind of money laying around all the time. Despite now being voiced by Vivian Nixon, Millie was originally voiced by Erica Lindbeck, whom most of you may recognize now as the voice of Loona. Millie doesn't seem to own a car, taking public transport instead when Moxie and she aren't traveling in Blitz's van. Despite her seeming indifference towards Blitz's weird behavior, she does at least understand what's wrong with it. In episode 3, she even joins in on the gag of questioning how he ended up dating Verosika Mayday, and speaks up when Blitz claims that he doesn't barge into their personal lives. Speaking of Verosika, Millie also seems to fantasize about what having sex with her would be like, which really cements Verosika's fame considering she used Michael Crawford, the original Phantom in Phantom of the Opera, as a counterexample. Millie makes a Mario jumping sound when she jumps to catch the van keys in episode 3. How the episode hasn't been instantly flame-broiled by Nintendo, I have no idea. Millie clearly knows that Moxie is a bit lacking in physical prowess, because as soon as she knows he's in a fight, she always gangs up with him to fight whoever the enemy is, from Stryker to Fizzarali to the Monsterfish. Nobody tell her Verosika assaulted Moxie, though. That could be a bloodbath. Millie appears to possess insane strength, given that she can pick Moxie up over her head with ease, force open the jaws of a giant monsterfish, and snap somebody's neck, not just with her legs, but with her bare hands, with zero leverage, seemingly zero effort, and while perching like a bird on the handle of her axe. She's so skilled with that battle axe, in fact, that she can spin it around behind her back fast enough to blend somebody. The slowest she could possibly be spinning that axe to blend a person matches a helicopter's blades at 500 rotations per minute, or just over 8 full spins per second. And she did that behind her back. Millie apparently has a good memory, too, remembering what Verosika's flask looked like after seeing it only once and identifying it as hers when the monsterfish attacked. Despite having lived in hell her entire life, Millie apparently thinks hellquakes are a thing, and jumps into action when they all think one is happening. Millie hates cherubs! Not surprising given their opposition to one another, but she seems to have an especially vicious disliking of Keene, only ever speaking to the cherubs at all to insult Keene specifically, first calling her a prude, and then the devastating line of judgmental, cotton candy, tit-having bitch, which honestly feels like it should have dealt area of effect damage. I mean, holy hell. It seems Millie isn't the only one lacking a little education, as not even Stryker or her parents seem to know what freelance work means. Millie states that she sustained several injuries during the fight for the bouquet at her brother's wedding, but did succeed at catching it, and says that it was worth those injuries, which is just the cutest darn thing. Outside of the 9 deaths she caused at previous Harvest Moon festivals, it's implied Millie's also killed several people in the neighborhood, which takes commitment, seeing as they don't seem to have neighbors within a mile or so. Millie apparently gets off on violence like her husband does, since she started making out with Moxie mid-fight while being shot at by Keene and Colin, while also swinging from a rope. Despite her absolute love for Moxie, Millie seems to accept that her parents won't respect him anytime soon, considering the look she shoots Sally Mae when she contradicts her, or how surprised she is when her father acknowledges Moxie's input. Millie's berserker rage appears to imbue her with some kind of insane speed on top of her crazy strength, as you can hear her running when she finds Stryker choking Moxie, and it honestly sounds like a damn spider is climbing on the walls. Speaking of her berserking, it seems her pupils turn into upside-down crosses when she gets angry enough, and several of her plain teeth turn into fangs. It's implied in the Oh Millie music video that Moxie proposed to Millie with a frag grenade, which she then proceeded to pull and throw, considering neither of them actually wear wedding rings. In a quick shot in Vivziepop's Holidays video, a tree can be seen in the background carved with M&M in a heart on the trunk, no doubt a reference to Millie and Moxie. On top of being surprised by their reservation at Ozzy's, Millie was also apparently not told that Moxie would be performing there, given how starstruck she is. During the House of Asmodeus, Blitz states that he's watched Millie and Moxie, in private several times, and that plain Jane Vanilla seems to be their go-to, but considering it was confirmed Millie does other things to Moxie, that seems... Hey, I see you over there, Rule 34. I thought we went over this last time. Stop it! Stop! No! Millie seems to be the only one Blitz doesn't have a personal picture with in his phone. She's included in a couple of group photos, but never one with just Blitz and her. It's shown in the pilot that Blitz has a bobblehead of both Millie and Moxie, and makeshift dolls of them too in episode 2. How he got those bobbleheads made, though, is a mystery I need solved because I want one. Millie's favorite mascot of Lululand appears to be Big Lubly, given her audible excitement at the appearance of the truly horrifying abomination. As stated earlier, Millie's parents brought her and her siblings to Lululand when they had the money for it, but they apparently didn't have the money for it often, as Millie also states that she hadn't been to the park since she was a little kid. Again, maybe not a theme park in the Ring of Greed next time. Despite her flustered expression when Stryker complimented her, Millie definitely seems to dislike other men flirting with her, given how she really just waved Stryker off, and her obvious discomfort at the hands of the shooting gallery worker at Lululand. And finally, Millie has been married to Moxie for about a year, as stated in episode 7, which is rather funny because episode 1 aired almost exactly 1 year before episode 7. And that just about does it for today, folks. Did you enjoy the video? Learn anything new? Let us know in the comments below. It really helps us figure out what you crazies like to see. Also, once again, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give that bell a good ringing so you can be sure to catch us every single day. But with that, I'm with the Fanworks, and we'll see you next time.